Okay, good day class. We will now continue the discussion on good day class. We will now continue the discussion on respiratory system. So we are now in the lungs. So this is now our next. So lungs, if in the cross section, no, if you cut the lungs in transverse, cut it like this. Okay. So you will see the structure of the lungs like this. So we have the right, we have the left. Okay. So occupies most of the thoracic cavity. So our thoracic cavity, it is the lungs who occupies most of the space in the thoracic cavity. So heart occupies the central portion called mediastinum. Guys, in nursing, this is always been mentioned. Okay? When you describe the location of your heart, where is the location of your heart? In the mediastinum. Okay, the location of your heart in the chest. The heart is located in the mediastinum. Okay, so in between two lungs. Okay, the left and the right. Apex is near the clavicle, as I have discussed last time, that the apex of the lungs is at the upper portion, just behind the clavicle. Okay, it's upper or superior portion. So apex is near the clavicle. So if this is your apex, okay, this is your clavicle. So your lungs is until there. And that is the apex. Apex is the pointed portion of the lungs. Okay, even the heart, the pointed portion of the heart is called apex. Okay, then we have the base. The base here. This is the base near your diaphragm. Okay, it rests on the diaphragm. Okay, that's the base. So each lung is divided into lobes by fissures. So memorize this one, guys. Until you are fourth year, you should know this one. Until you take the board exam, and if you are already nurse, you still know this one. Okay, so at the right, it has three lobes. At the left, it has two lobes. Again, our code is when you are buying your shoes, before you buy, you try it. So try before you buy. So at the right, we have three. At the left, we have two. Okay, that's your code. So this is the structure of our lungs. Okay, as you can see here, there are fissures here. This is the fissures. Okay, and if you look at the right lung, it has one, two, three lobes, and here the right lung has only one fissure, so it has one, two lobes. So there are only two lobes in the left. So always remember that one. Three, two. Okay. So here in the illustration, the transverse section of the lungs, you can hear that this is the heart. You can see here, okay, that this is the heart, and the heart is enclosed with a serosa, okay, and this is the mediastinum. Now, if you look at the lungs is also covered by a serosa, okay. This is the serosa, okay. There is a covering which is continuous. When you get here, it is continuous like this, okay. So there is a covering of the lungs called pleura, okay. So the coverings of the lungs. Serosa covers the outer surface of the lungs, okay. The pulmonary pleura or visceral, usually visceral pleura. If you say visceral, the organ, so this serosa is actually lined on the lungs itself. So it covers the lung surface. Parietal pleura lines the walls of the thoracic cavity. So as you can see a while ago, no? Then there in between these two pleura, there is fluid called pleural fluid. Okay, fills the area between layers. of pleura to allow gliding. Yan, that's the purpose of this pleural fluid, the serosal fluid. Okay, so it's for gliding. It will prevent friction, no? Prevent friction. Okay, so it prevents friction. So these two pleural layers resist being pulled apart. So if there is fluid, okay, the lungs has cover in it, and this is the lung, and this is the lung, and this is the thoracic cavity or thoracic wall. So they glide to each other and they pull. That's why when you inhale, your chest rises, it pulls the lungs to expand. Okay, so it prevents friction and also promotes gliding. That's the purpose of the serosa, the fluid of the serosa. Okay, pleurisy is the term for inflammation of the pleura. So a decrease in secretion of pleural fluid will cause pain. It's very painful. So if there is a decrease in the pleural fluid, when you inhale, you feel pain. Maybe sometimes you feel that one, no? If you inhale, it's painful. There is a decrease in uh, fluid inside the serosa. Okay, surface becomes dry. Okay, and rough, resulting in a friction and stabbing pain with each breath. O, ganun ang description. The description is stabbing pain, para kang sinasaksak. Okay, produce excessive amount. Okay, exert pressure on the lung. So if there's so much fluid in the pleural cavity, it would be a problem also. Okay, so you cannot breathe. Okay, it hinders breathing movement because it is full. The lungs cannot expand. Okay, so here, okay, if you look at the lungs, uh, this one, no. So this is the lungs. This is the covering of the lungs. This is the visceral pleura, and this is the parietal pleura. In between, there is a cavity, and it's called pleural cavity. Okay, inside there are fluids. Okay, that makes these two collide to each other. That's why when your chest rise up, no, this one clings to the parietal pleura, okay, and promotes lung expansion. Okay. Hmm. So let's go now to the bronchial three division. So this is your larynx, isn't it? This is the voice box. This is your Adam's apple, and this is your epiglottis. Now below is the trachea, okay, which has C-shaped rings, no? And here below the trachea we have the primary bronchus, okay, in which we described before that the primary bronchus, the right one, is more straighter, more wider because it has three lobes to supply, and this one, the left one, is longer and narrower. Okay, the important thing to know here is all but the smallest of these passageway have reinforced cartilage in their airways. So they are made up of cartilage, reinforced of cartilage, in order to maintain patency. Okay, so we have the primary bronchi, which is divided into left and right. After the primary bronchi, it becomes smaller. Secondary bronchi, then tertiary bronchi, and then bronchioles, terminal bronchioles. Okay? So if you look at the lung tissue is elastic. Okay? Elastic connective tissue that allows the lungs to recoil passively as we exhale, no? That's why exhalation is passive movement. You don't need an effort when you exhale. Okay? So because the lung is elastic. What is the meaning of elastic? No, elastic is like the rubber band. When you stretch the rubber band, it goes back. That's the meaning of elastic. You are able to stretch them, and it is able to recoil back. That is elastic. Okay. There are some people who lose the elasticity of the lungs. Example, people who are uh, diagnosed with COPD, no? Especially pulmonary emphysema, because of smoking, the lungs is being damaged. The elasticity of the lungs is already gone, no? That's why when they breathe, their lungs do not recoil. That's why their manifestation is barrel chest. Their chest is like a barrel, and they breathe very shallow, very fast. That's why if you are smoking right now, stop smoking because you will damage the elasticity of the connective tissue of your lungs. Okay? And later on, you cannot breathe. Yan. Okay, what is the respiratory zone? Okay, the structure in the respiratory zone are the respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts, alveolar sacs, alveoli. Okay, the site of gas exchange happens only in the alveoli. So gas exchange only happen here. Okay, so this is now your respiratory zone. From here, no, we have the respiratory bronchioles, and we have the ducts, and then we have the sac, and then the alveoli. Okay, it says here, all other respiratory passages are only conducting zone structures. They are only connection that serve as conduits, okay, to and from the respiratory zone. Okay, so gas exchange really happens only in the alveoli. Okay, so this is an example of the lung tissue. So if you can see, there are alveoli here, no? So it is made up of thin squamous epithelial layer, okay, lines the alveolar wall. Okay, here we are now talking about respiratory membrane or air-blood barrier. What is air-blood barrier? This is very important to know because they are responsible for the gas exchange. We are talking about air and we are talking about blood. Okay, so this membrane, okay, this membrane is between the air and the blood, meaning the alveoli and the blood. That's why it's called air-blood barrier. In other books, it's called blood-gas barrier. Okay, so respiratory membrane, so alveolar pore connect neighboring air sacs. So if you look at the alveoli, no, there is a pore here, holes that connects to the other alveoli. Because sometimes if this is clogged, no, there will be no air supplying here, but he can have a supply of air when this one is connected there and connected here. So there are connection in between alveolar, and the connection is called alveolar pore. Okay? So pulmonary capillaries covers external surface of the alveoli. So here, if you look at the alveoli, we have the vein and we have the arteries. And the connection between the two is called the capillaries. Okay, the alveolar capillary network. Okay, so one side of the membrane is air and the other side is blood flowing fast. So if you look at here, what is inside the alveoli is air. Now in the capillary is blood, and the capillary, okay, clings to the alveolar wall. So inside the alveolar contains air, okay, and the capillary contains blood. Okay, let us see here, no. So here is the alveoli, no? So these are the capillaries. It contains the RBC, no? And inside of this, we have the surfactant secreting cell, no? This surfactant secreting cell secretes surfactant. This surfactant is very important, no, to decrease friction among the alveoli so that it can promote expansion of the alveoli, no? Okay, and here alveolar pores connect neighboring air sacs, so there are pores here. You can see this one, connected to other, this alveoli is connected to other alveoli. Okay, so it provides alternative routes for air to reach alveoli those feeder bronchioles have been clogged. So if the feeder bronchioles are big clogged, there is another supply of air coming from another alveoli. Okay, okay, this one is the last line of defense of the respiratory system. So when you inhale, no, the air is being purified from your nose through your trachea. Okay, from your trachea it goes down to your bronchioles and goes to your air sacs and goes to your alveoli. Okay, but in the alveoli, okay, there are alveolar macrophages, and sometimes they are called dust cells that wander in and out of the alveoli, picking up bacteria and carbon particles and other debris. So there are cleaners inside, so don't worry. Even you inhale some particles, there is still macrophages who eat them. Okay, they engulf them. Okay, they are called the dust cells. They are the cleaners, the last defense there, the last cleaner in the respiratory system to purify the air. Okay, so surfactant secreting cell, the description is chunky cuboidal cells. These cells produce a lipid fat molecule called surfactant, which coats the gas exposed alveoli. So this one will coat this one. The gas exposed alveoli is the inside one, no? So air goes here. Okay, so this one coats the lining. Okay, so okay, to avoid friction when it collapses, no, when you exhale, okay, there will be no air inside, so to prevent them from sticking to each other, there is surfactant. Okay, by the way, the surfactant is very important during the development of the fetus inside, no. Actually, the surfactant is developed within 7 months. That is why if the child is born under 7 months, they cannot live. They need to be put in an incubator because surfactant is still absent. No, they cannot breathe and they will die. Okay, so it's better if you are pregnant and uh, you gave birth to a 7 months old child. Okay, the tendency is she has difficulty of breathing because they lack surfactant. And there are synthetic surfactant that being injected to this newborn, but it's very expensive. No, one vial I think costs 25,000. They don't allow the students to touch that vial, and they are not allowed to give that one because once you expose them, they cannot be used anymore, and you have to pay the 25,000. Okay, let's go here, no? So this is the alveoli. This side is the alveoli. This is the blood vessel, no? In between, so this one is called the alveolar epithelium, no? Here. And this one is capillary endothelium here. Okay, so in between we have the fused basement membrane. So this structure here is now called the air-blood barrier. Okay, this is where gas exchange happens. Okay? So, because there's a gas exchange happen and material can go in and out, a selective material, they are semi-permeable, no? It is semi-permeable. Okay, so gas exchange happens through diffusion. Isn't it? Simple diffusion. Okay, diffusion. So, simple diffusion meaning from higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay, this is what is happening. The air that we inhale is full of oxygen. So, when you inhale, oxygen goes here in the alveoli. No? So, this is rich in oxygen. Okay, in the blood, when the blood returns to the lungs, it is very full of oxygen. Okay. So, which has the higher concentration? Is it on the alveoli or is it on the blood? Okay. So, the higher concentration is in the alveoli. Now, because of the diffusion, this oxygen will now go to the lower concentration. So, there will be gas exchange of oxygen. Okay. When the blood returns to the lungs, it is full of carbon dioxide. Here, there is a less carbon dioxide. There is but lesser carbon dioxide now. Okay, so who has the higher concentration? Okay, is it the blood or the alveoli with carbon dioxide? So higher concentration is from the blood. That is why through the process of diffusion, carbon dioxide fuse in the carbon dioxide in the alveoli. And that is the rule of the diffusion. So this air-blood barrier is very important in the gas exchange. Okay, so this is called external respiration. No? So gas exchange between the blood and the environment. Okay, so this is the meaning of the environment. The environment is the alveoli. Okay, because the gas came from our environment and this is coming from outside. Okay, so that's all. And we will continue the discussion for the respiratory physiology. Okay, so I hope you have take down notes and I hope you understand the lesson.